Hey everybody, welcome back to Comic Issues Daily. I'm Bryant and we got a stacked lineup today. Daredevil's coming back swinging with a brand new release window. George Lucas dropped a Star Wars truth bomb and Absolute Batman 13 is crushing the sales chart. Plus, we're digging into Doctor Doom's surprise weakness, WandaVision's secret sequel twist, and Secret Wars rumors that could change everything in the MCU. It's a busy day in comics, so let's dive right into it. All right. Let's kick things off with something I know a lot of us have been waiting for. Daredevil Born Again Season 2 is finally getting its return. And according to Anthony Ortega over at CBR, Marvel is done filming Season 2, and insiders are eyeing November of 2026 for the drop on Disney+. That means we got about 6 months, that we're about 6 months out from seeing Charlie Cox back in the suit. And Ortega says this vibe, or the vibe this season, is all about returning to the grit, back to those Netflix roots, but still woven tightly into the MCU. Now, here's what's interesting. Ortega points out that both Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio to bring that moral gray tone back, less glossy, more human. The creative team apparently scrapped some early scripts that lean to Marvel Factory and rework them to focus on Matt's dual life and courtroom drama. We're talking real emotional stakes here. Word is that this is finally the show. Word is this could finally be the show that makes Daredevil feel like Daredevil again instead of another cameo situation. And after how long fans have been waiting, this one's got to hit. So what do you think? Are we all in for a Daredevil second shot at redemption, or are we still burned from that first reboot mess? Drop your hype level in the comments. And while Marvel's getting street level, someone else is pulling back from an entire galaxy, and his name is George Lucas. All right, Star Wars fans, brace yourselves because this one stings a little bit. According to Jamie Lovett over at comicbook.com, George Lucas just admitted that he doesn't really keep up with Star Wars anymore. Yeah, the man who built a galaxy far, far away from here basically said, "I've moved on." Lovett reports that Lucas has been laser focused on opening his Lucas Marathon of Narrative Arts in Los Angeles, which is finally set to open in 2026. And when asked about the franchise, he kind of shrugged it off. He said Star Wars has grown beyond him, and he's fine with that. Now, to be fair, Lovett makes it sound like Lucas isn't bitter. He's just at peace. He's doing his own thing, curating the art of storytelling itself, everything from classic cinema to modern concept design, and of course, plenty of Star Wars material in there too. It's kind of poetic. If you think about it, the guy who taught us about myth and destiny is now achieving all the myth that has inspired him, is archiving all the myth that has inspired him. But let's be real. Hearing Lucas say it's not his Star Wars anymore, that hits like a Force Ghost gut punch. Who can almost feel the collective scream from every fan for him lighting it up. So what do you think? Should George still have a seat at the creative table, or was it time for him to hang up the lightsaber and let the next generation steer the Falcon? Let me know in the comments. Me personally, I think he should have still had a creative impact in crafting the storytelling or the path going forward. I personally read all the books that came out afterwards, and I was very disappointed when all of those were moved on or considered legacy and not canon. All right. Well, and speaking of people dealing with their past, which, I mean, it's a little hard dealing with the Star Wars past. It's not there anymore. Oh, man, this next one's a trip. Smallville fans, I don't know if you're going to be ready for this, but Allison Mack launched is launching a NVIVN Smallville Tell All podcast. All right, this one feels straight out of a Lifetime movie mixed with Smallville reruns. According to Josh Wildling over at comicbookmovie.com, former Smallville actress Allison Mack, yeah, Chloe Sullivan herself, is launching a brand new podcast next month where she talks about how she went from being a TV superhero sidekick to a convicted felon in the sex cult that she was in. Yeah, I'm not kidding. She's calling it a mix of confession, education, and self-redemption. Wildling says Mack plans to bring on psychologists, reporters, and even former members to dissect how cults manipulate people and how fame made her an easy target for control. It's heavy stuff. She's already served a prison sentence, and now she says this podcast is about rebuilding her life and maybe helping others avoid what she went through. Wildly notes that she's not trying to justify it. She wants to unpack why she followed someone like Keith Rainier in the first place. That's a bold move. It's going to be weird hearing that voice again, the one that used to say Clark every episode. Now talking about trauma, guilt, and recovery. But if she's genuinely trying to educate others instead of chasing a redemption tour, maybe something good can come from this. Are you curious enough to tune in, or does this one feel too raw to listen to? Drop your thoughts because this story's got people split right down the middle. Me personally, I'm not going to listen to it. And while we're talking about endings and new beginnings, Marvel just pulled the plug on an entire universe, but not for the reason people think. All right. So a lot of Marvel fans saw this headline and immediately thought, oh, great, here we go again. Marvel's killing off another universe because people said it was too woke. But not so fast, according to Josh Wilding over at Comic Book Movie. Writer Denzi Camp, who's been steering the Ultimate, came out swinging to shut that talk down. He said the ending of Ultimate Universe has nothing to do with Backlash. This was the plan from day one. The relaunch was designed as a tight, self-contained story that would wrap up an Ultimate Endgame next year, giving readers a full narrative arc instead of just another endless continuity grind. Camp told Wilding that he and Marvel wanted this version of the universe to feel like a modern mythology, bold, experimental, and finite. He basically said, we told our story, now we're out, which honestly feels refreshing for once. We're so used to these reboots dragging on until the excitement fizzles out, and get this, Camp even hinted that by having a clear ending, they may have set the blueprint for how Marvel could handle future alternate universes. It's kind of the anti-Secret Wars approach. Less about collapsing worlds, more about giving closure. So what do you think? Should Marvel's line have definitive endings like this, or do you prefer the never-ending cycle? Let me know in the comments what you think. And okay, now we're going to talk about some the other alternate universes out there, or absolute universe, which is comic shops are buzzing right now about how this Batman Absolute Batman number 13 has just sold nearly 200 copies, and it didn't even have a gimmick to do it. According to, it didn't need blind bags or anything like that. And according to Rich Johnson over at Bleeding Cool, DC didn't pull any of their usual marketing stunts like the blind bags. No foil variants, no retail bribes, just a killer issue that the fans couldn't get enough of. Johnson said a lot of the stores actually under-ordered this one, thinking it would perform like a normal event book. But once word spread about how good it was, it started flying off the shelves. And yep, I've already picked up my copy. I just don't know where it is at the moment. And now everyone's scrambling for their reorders. Here's what's cool, and it's all about Absolute Catwoman. Johnson pointed out that this issue proves that the Absolute Universe concept is working. It's darker, it's cinematic, it's got that grounded edge, but still feels fresh and self-contained. The creative team doubled down on character-driven storytelling instead of shock value, and it's paying off. DC hasn't seen this kind of single-issue heat since Batman 50, and people are already calling Absolute Batman the sleeper hit of the year. And if you missed it, now might be the time to check your LCS or eBay if you're desperate. But be ready to pay, because these numbers are about to drive prices up. So did you grab a copy of Absolute Batman 13 before the madness started, or are you kicking yourself right now? Let me know if your shop sold out. And while Batman is breaking sales records, Marvel's biggest bad guy just got turned down by his own ego. Just got taken down by his own ego. Yep, Dr. Doom has finally met his match. And all right, let's talk about the man who thinks he's never wrong, which is Victor Von Doom. And according to Spencer Perry over at comicbook.com, Marvel's newest event, One World Under Doom, finally did it. It showed Doom's biggest weakness and surprise. It's not his armor. It's not his magic. It's his ego. Perry breaks down how Doom basically becomes the sorcerer supreme and takes over the entire world, defeats every superhero, and actually does it like he wins. He gets everything he's ever wanted and still can't stand it because no one's worshiping him the way he thinks they should. Perry describes it as a tragic Shakespearean level downfall. Doom has the world in his grasp and still it's not enough. He can't handle not being loved while he's being obeyed. It's the ultimate Doom irony. The guy who screams about superiority is really just desperate for validation. And honestly, that kind of brilliant writing after 63 years of Doom being the perfect blend of arrogance and genius Marvel finally cracked the code on truly what's driving him. It's not domination, it's insecurity. This is the kind of character work that makes Doom timeless. And so what do you think, folks? Does making Doom this emotionally flawed make him more interesting, or do you prefer the pure, unstoppable tyrant version? Let me know. And while Marvel's villains are facing their flaws, over in DC's James Gunn, they've been stirring up some drama of their own, and it's all thanks to a couple of Superman scenes. Apparently, some of the new scenes that have been stirring up suits at DC, according to Sean Stone over at CBR, is all about James Gunn. He opened up about the 3 moments in his Superman movie that caused some serious debate. Behind closed doors at DC Studios, the fighting weren't about violence or politics. They were about hope. Yeah, apparently the few execs thought the movie was too optimistic for modern audiences. Gunn literally told Stone that the whole point of Superman, he's supposed to be light in the middle of chaos. Yeah, Superman's all about hope. He's the big blue Boy Scout. So the executives at WB, I mean, they don't know what they're talking about when it comes to Superman. Stone's piece goes into how Gunn's really pushed back on that cynical trend we've had in superhero movies. He said he wanted this movie to feel earnest again, not edgy for the sake of it. He reportedly is bringing back the warmth, the kindness, and the moral center that made Clark Kent Superman, and I believe he did. And some execs were clutching their pearls over that. Gunn's probably just made the biggest creative call possible. I think he did a good job with the Superman movie. Yep, I think we're all good with how Superman turned out, and I think Gunn made a good decision to bring back hope into the movies because we've been missing in a few things we've seen lately. All right, and speaking of redemption, one of Marvel's heroes is getting a fresh second act, but with a pretty big twist. Okay, this next one's all for you WandaVision fans still rewatching that, and it was Agatha all along scene. Marvel just confirmed the sequel is officially happening, but it's not what you think. And according to Kevin T. Smith over at CBR, Marvel is developing a follow-up that centers on Vision, not Wanda, and it's called Vision Quest, which we already knew that. Eternally, and it picks up after the events of Multiverse of Madness, where Vision's trying to rebuild his identity and piece together the memories Wanda restored. Smith says the tone is going to stay weird and experimental, but this time it's more sci-fi and introspective, less sitcom, and more extensive. Now here's the twist. Smith points out that Marvel still hasn't confirmed Elizabeth Olsen's return. No Wanda on set, no press mentions, nothing, but her presence is supposedly felt throughout the story, kind of like a ghost in the Vision programming. So even without her physically there, Wanda's legacy drives the narrative. If they pull that off, this could be reality, really emotional follow-up instead of just another spinoff. Because Vision Quest and Agatha might actually be building a whole grief trilogy here. So what do you think? Are you into this new Vision-led direction, or do you only care if Wanda is actually a part of it? Let me know what side you are what you're on in the comments. And then talking about Marvel again, we got the Avengers Secret War information here. And it's saying that it could be bigger than we've expected. Even by this one sounds insane, even by Marvel standards. And according to Josh Wilding over at comicbookmovie.com, the early buzz around Avengers Secret War is that it's shaping up to be an even bigger than Endgame. Wilding sources claim the Russo brothers are in active discussions to make it huge. So it's going to have all the Fox, X-Men, maybe Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, and maybe even animated tie-ins from across the Spider-Verse. That'd be interesting. So it should be a big movie and might even bring in some old villains that we've seen in the MCU, like Thanos before. Who knows? It could be huge. Let me know what your thoughts. And it's even going to have, as we know, are y'all ready for RDJ to come back and be Dr. Doom in it? Who knows? It's going to be wild. So we're going to move on into the Daily Shakers report. Sorry. All right, collectors, let's talk some of the Marvel heat because the back issue charts are absolutely lighting up right now. And the latest cover price Daily Shakers report shows that those big Silver and Bronze Age keys are still dominating, even with all the modern hype. The numbers still prove one thing: nostalgia still sells, and heavy hitters aren't slowing down anytime soon. We got Incredible Hulk number 181 from 1974, the first full appearance of Wolverine in a CGC 5.0, just sold for $2,700. That's mid-grade money for a grail that just won't cool off. Then we got Avengers number 1 from 1963, the first team appearance of Earth's Mightiest Heroes. A raw copy hit $2,400. So that's pretty cool. A raw is commanding that kind of money. But in Avengers 1, can't really be surprised. Then we got Iron Man Special number 1 from 1970. 9.8 copies are going crazy right now with a sale of $2,250. That is record territory for a one-shot most people forgot even exists. And then we got New Mutants number 98 from 1991, the first appearance of Deadpool. A CGC 9.8 copy sold for $1,940. So every time Deadpool pops up or some speculation, this book goes a little bit wild. And then then on Indie, we got Cry for Dawn number 5 from 1991 in a second print in a CGC 9.8, sold for $1,900. I think this one, if you check it out, it is the second print of Cry for Dawn number 5. I think this one might have sold for cover art. Just saying, check it out. Then we got X-Men number 4 from 1964 in a raw copy, sold for $1,832, and it's the first appearance of Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch. Then Thor issue number 163 from 1969 in a CGC 9.8 was sold for $1,602. And then we got X-Men number 27 from 1966, sold in a CGC 9.6 for $1,540. And then we got some World's Best Comics number 1 from 1941 in a CGC 0.5, pulled in $1,157. And that's Golden Age power at work. Even a ragged copy still carries some weight. And then we got Action Comics number 252 from 1959. The first Supergirl and Metallo in a CGC 1.8 went for $1,150, showing that even in low grade, they first appearances still command a lot. So that was the Cover Price Daily Shakers report. Let me know what you think of all that. And then also just want to remind everybody that this is Comics Cure and Cancer Month. It's October. We got the C3 auctions coming up this upcoming weekend, October 24th through the 26th. I have the schedule for all those shows right here, and here we go. And also, I just wanted to shout out that I do a live stream every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, where I speak to comic book YouTube content creators about their comic channel origins. And this tonight at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, I am speaking with Mike from Lunch Money Comics. Going to talk to him about how he started his YouTube channel with 0 subscribers and 0 views, and now he's up to over 20,000 subscribers in just a few couple of years. So please check that out. Come join us, ask questions, and let's learn from Mike and everything that he's done on his comic book YouTube journey. Also, I would like to give a shout out to Ron's Comic Closet, the sponsor of I Have Comic Issues, our channel here. And if you use code I Have Issues at checkout, you'll get 20% off your first purchase with Ron. He has new issues or new releases, back issues, other collectibles. So check that out. And also, that's all that I have for y'all today. Please check us out tomorrow. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.